welcome to all the parents who have joined our session today on digital distractions. Undoubtedly, media and internet has brought the world within our palms, but it surely has taken the physical world away from us. Now, we are not keen on going out to meet our loved ones as they are visible through a video call. We bin the idea of going to a theater as we have all the movies on the go. We swapped the idea of cooking a lavish meal for friends as Swiggy is at our doorstep. Thanks to the digital world for its boosts. Yet, it has brought along with it loneliness, depression, strained relations, and a lot more. This is mainly due to overuse of gadgets. It is a commonplace now to see heated arguments between parents and youngsters about the use or rather misuse of these gadgets. We often hear parents talking about how they can make kids more social, athletic, and less distracted by gadgets. To talk about digital distractions, today we have in our midst a certified digital wellness educator, Mr. Rijul Arora. Mr. Rijul's vision in life is to enable people to lead a healthy relationship with technology. Mr. Rijul is a renowned TEDx speaker, founder and council chair at Lookup India, Microsoft certified data analyst, and he has even worked with organizations like World Bank, UNDP, and Government of India across various sectors. Let us welcome Mr. Rijul Arora as a guest speaker for the evening. I hope that by the end of this session, we will all have a small takeaway which we can implement in our lives. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Rijul.
Thank you for the kind words and the introduction, Prajita ma'am. Really means a lot to me. And thank you for the opportunity. And thank you to the whole team which is sitting here to organize it from end to end. Genuinely means a lot. Today I'll be talking about, as ma'am said, how do you tame your digital distractions and how do you thrive in the digital world essentially? How do you enable your kids to manage their technology and make it work for them? So this would be a very practical workshop and I'll try to keep it very interactive and very practical oriented. So feel free to pour in your thoughts in the chat window and I'm happy to discuss them. Let's start. Does this seem familiar? You're just fed up with your kids' screen time. You want to take away their tech. They're on screens most of the time. They want to play on social media. They want to watch YouTube videos. They want to play games. Or you're always on your kids' case like this person here. That how much time would you spend online? What are they doing online? We are all on our kids' screen time case, right? I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, and a hands up would really help to make sure if all of you can empathize with this. Perfect. I see a lot of participants raising hand. That's good. And don't worry, this is something we all do. And it's not just we. If you look at it more from a broader lens, if you look at media, like there are a lot of articles out there which talk about how to manage your children's screen time. Smartphones have destroyed a generation. Ban mobile phones. Limit screen time for children. And even during COVID times, there were a lot of articles which talked about how COVID has really destroyed our mental health, physical health, and our screen time has gone up the limit. So this is not just us, this is just media as well. And I'm here to tell you that there has been a lot of negative sentiment around it. And I'm here to say that technology is not altogether bad, as Prajita ma'am was also mentioning. And a common analogy that we give is with drugs. A lot of us kind of compare technology with drugs. We say that cigarettes and drugs are bad, and we say that technology and screen time is like that. But the case is that it's not. The drugs and cigarettes are completely bad for our health, and it has research to kind of back that it causes cancer and all. But not with technology, right? Because technology comes in with a lot of benefits. To give you a couple of examples, COVID vaccination came in with the technology. We are talking right now because of technology. We have been able to learn during COVID times because of technology. We have been able to connect during COVID times because of technology. So it is positive as well. But our usage of technology is not good. and hence the problem comes. So just wanted to make that particular demarcation clear. And honestly, I'm not here to tell you to break your kids' tech. I'm sure a lot of you must be thinking and so frustrated with your kids' tech that you want to go ahead and just prick the phone on the wall of your kids that kitna screen time karega or you're frustrated potentially with your online meetings or your kids online learning and just want to go ahead and break the laptop. So I'm not here to tell you to break your kids' tech. So just wanted to be sure about the expectations out there. And rather, I have a more positive oriented approach. I'm here to tell you that technology is like food. And I'll explain that with examples as well. So these are two options we have. Option one is fruits. Option two is gems or candy. Which one is better for us or our kids? One or two? So first one is essentially healthy. Second one is essentially unhealthy. I'm sure I see a lot of responses coming in the Q&A. Perfect. So essentially, one is much more healthier for us, healthier food. And if we talk about technology, there are again, I just want to give you two examples. The first one here on the left is a kid talking to his grandparents over video call. This is comparatively healthier, right? Because if you look at COVID times, a lot of us were locked down inside rooms and we wanted to really connect. So screens really helped us do that. So it was a good or a positive use of tech. And if you look at second, this is a kid who's attending online classes, who's on social media or watching YouTube videos or doing 2 or 3 things together. Is that a healthy use of screen? Potentially not, right? So the point that I'm trying to make is that it's a lot about our usage and technology is a lot like food. And to explain that analogy better, the kind of food that we eat as human beings, if we eat the right amount of vitamins, carbohydrates, proteins, we are a good, healthy human being, right? Similarly, if we look at technology, if we consume the right kinds of content online, if we grow ourselves, if we use it to follow our passions, we really are developing our digital and physical selves. But if we don't use it in the right way, it would deteriorate our mental health, physical health. And that's what's been happening over the last couple of years. It's not technology per se to completely blame, but it's our usage of technology to blame. So just wanted to make that expectation and demarcation clear. And to go much more broader, I believe digital wellness is not anti-technology, it's healthy technology. Just wanted to make that demarcation clear. And it's about balance. And when I mean balance, there are two ends to the spectrum. One end of the spectrum is something called a digital detox. Digital detox is when you go away from technology, all of it for a long time or a certain period of time. And you feel good about it, right? But you can't live without it because how can you connect without social media? How can you learn a lot without kind of going through online learning potentially? Or how can you get a lot of resources across the world. So there are a lot of good use cases of technology when we are going on a digital detox. Hence, probably try to do it sometime, but it's not sustainable. And at the other end of the spectrum is something called digital addiction. And digital addiction demarcation is when it's substituting each and every aspect of our life. And to give an example, there are cases where kids are completely hooked to gaming. They're constantly gaming on their screens and they don't get up to go to the washroom. And they are actually not talking to someone in person. They're not going outside. So it's substituting each and every aspect of our life. That's what digital addiction is. And in my experience, I found most of us are at this point, which is called digital overuse. So at not addicted, but close to addiction. And it does substitute some of aspects of our life, which happened potentially during COVID when we didn't have much to do besides staying online and being in person. So the point is, when I mean overuse, I'll come to the problems as well. It's all about being constantly distracted while using technology. It's about being always on to technology, 24/7 connection to technology. And I'll explain that in further detail in the coming sections as well. But my approach is to move towards this balance point in between, which you see. It is called digital flourishing. And there are a lot of names to this, but digital flourishing is a terminology which came in by the Digital Wellness Collective, which is the leading organization in this space. And it's a more mindful approach towards technology usage, in which you take in the benefits of technology and avoid the associated harms. It's a more empowerment oriented approach in which you have the control to shape the digital world. And a lot of parents have come and asked me, boss, what is the right kind of screen time for my kid? And I'm sure a lot of you will come with that question. There are a lot of guidelines out there by American Academy of Pediatrics, by Indian Academy of Pediatrics, which kind of list the age group and what amount of screen time is appropriate and some particular notes around that. And you can see that on the screen. But my point is these guidelines are good to refer, but digital wellness is much, much more broader than screen time, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic when screens have become a necessity. And the point is to set more context around screen time. The first is type of screen matters. Are you always on your small phone mobile screen? The smaller the screen, the more problem it potentially causes. Second is the way the screen is used matters, honestly. So am I on my phone most of the time and my neck is bent? It might cause issues to my physical health or my neck. Third is the length of time on screen matters. Am I not taking any breaks or am I on screens all time of the day? So length of time on screen matters. Fourth is the type of activity while using screen matters, which I mean is active versus passive. Passive is when you passively scroll through social media or when you're passively watching something like potentially Netflix or any documentary or any cartoon. Active means when you're engaging with content on commenting, liking, putting out a cooking video out there. Your child does something really passionate, he loves something, he creates something, he posts it on social media. So being active really matters. Active is generally better than passive. So as you see, it's much more than that time metric. It's about type, it's about way, it's about length, and it's about the type of activity. So this is really important to understand. And if I kind of summarize the first section, this quote really captures it. And she is a leading thought leader in this space. Her name is Anya Kamnitz. She is the author of the book, The Art of Screen Time. And she puts it this way: enjoy screens, not too much, mostly with others. And the point here is to use your screens together with your kids as well. If you're watching a movie together, after you watch that movie together, discuss it with your kids. What were some life lessons? A lot of these cartoon movies have a lot of life lessons to learn. So how do you kind of work together with the technology? Do a video call together, solve some online game together. So do something together as well. Enjoy them, not too much, but with your family together or with friends. So that's like a summary of the first section. So we've spent the first, I think, 5-10 minutes setting expectation. My expectation was to tell you that technology is not bad. It's like how we use the technology. It's to look at it more from a positive oriented approach and to set some context around screen time. So I just wanted some introductions. Like I'll love to open it for audio if we can for a couple of minutes for a couple of you to come up and talk about which standard your kid is in, one expectation you have from the session. If we can do that, happy to do that, because I think if we keep it more interactive, that's much good.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Prashansa and I'm a yoga teacher, and my child is in grade 6.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, sir, I also believe that technology, we need to opt just like healthy food, because we have options, good and bad both. So I agree with your point. It's a wonderful point. But, nowadays, kids want that particular technology for a long time. They want their own tab. They actually, it's like they are becoming choosy. They want separate, and they are connected. They are actually connected towards technology. They are not, as you already said, that they don't want to spend time with real things rather than technology. So my daughter watches everything which is good. But the duration, how to control that duration? How can we control that duration? How can we stop once they are addicted? And they always tell that this is good, what we are watching, this is for my studies. So how we can put a full stop on that?
Absolutely, very good question, ma'am. Thank you for actually agreeing with that food analogy and giving this question. I have something called a screen time contract, which I'll be covering in the solutions part, which should potentially cover your question. If the solutions I talk about don't cover your answer, feel free to ask me this question again, ma'am, and we can discuss about this. But I think it should cover your the later part of the session should cover your question.
Okay, so thank you so much.
So here we have Sangeeta Srivastav. You may share, Sangeeta.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes. My son is in 7th standard, and I would like to add that once he comes back from school, he wants to play game on mobile. So he finds it as a self-time. But I am worried because the duration is exceeding. Though otherwise he does his homework, his student studies, he does the research work on the technology, that I'm very happy. But this self-time and just getting only into the technology part with the mobile games, so I'm a little worried. So you can tell any solution for this?
Absolutely, ma'am. So again, the next part, I'm going to talk about 9 solutions which should potentially cover your answer. which should cover your question, but happy to again discuss this in detail. It's good that I have your expectations and I'll definitely cover it as a part of the solution. If not, happy to discuss it in detail.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Really appreciate it, ma'am. I think we'll close it for now. Once I cover the solutions, I think then we'll open it. Then I think we'll have better kind of Q&A. Thanks for your questions, everyone. Now that we've had a couple of introductions, I just want to give a quick introduction about myself. I'm someone who's been on both sides of the table. I'm someone who's been distracted by social media, went cold turkey, and now I'm trying to have that healthy relationship. I was someone who used to check my WhatsApp first thing in the morning, last thing in the night. I used to put photos on Facebook and look for validation and different types of photos. And I used to take my phone in the bathroom. And if I look at COVID pandemic times, I was exhausted in the online meetings. And I've also gone through those gaming distractions as well. So I was someone who's constantly been distracted by tech. But I've gone cold turkey from tech, and this is a couple of years back, before pandemic. And that phase had a really impactful part to play in my life, because I used that time to navigate and put in good habits in my life. I adopted gratitude, meditation, mindfulness, physical exercise, mental exercise, etc. And that phase had a really, really good impact in my life. I lost 17 kilos during that point of time. I was much more happier in my life. I had gems instead of a lot of stones in my life, I would say. A lot of friends online, which I potentially didn't talk to. So that phase had a really great impact in my life. And obviously I can't live without social media, hence I came back. And when I say this journey, I'm sure I am sure a lot of you can resonate with yourself potentially, or your kids who've been distracted. So that's why I'm talking about this journey, that I'm someone who has struggled with that journey. I'm sure a lot of you can empathize with this. But what's different is that I've come back and now I've been exploring this healthy relationship for the last 4-5 years. And I follow this mantra of MCT. M starts for moderation, which is again, limiting your screen time. Second is healthy consumption. As I said, it's a lot like food. So personally, I consume a lot of content, which I'm passionate about, potentially cricket. I really love watching self-help content. I really follow a lot of digital wellness content. I love spirituality. So I love leadership as well. So these are things I consume online, and it really helps me shape my personality. Third is healthy production. And the point is, I use technology as a tool to produce as well. Most of us are, as I said, passive, not active. I use technology to talk about my digital wellness content. I use it to put out content and impact millions of people out there. So hence it acts as a platform for me to reach out to multiple people and to talk about my skills. So the point is, if you look at our kids, are they passively using technology or are they actively using technology? That's something to keep in mind as well. And just to give you quick glimpses, this was before me when I was around 93, 94 kilos. And this is after me, 75 kilos, when I lost 17, 18 kilos. So the point is, again, it was not because I left social media. It was because I left social media and I had a lot of great habits which I adopted. And I've heard that a lot of kids have really gained weight, have really adopted negative habits, which have really impacted their life. So just wanted to give you some inspiration out there. And it's not just that I've been on both sides of the table and I can relate with your journey. I'm someone who comes in with a lot of credibility when it comes to digital wellness. Professionally, I work with EY and I love technology. I'm a certified educator by the biggest player in this space. And I've talked about digital wellness at various platforms. This is the third time I'm coming to Khaitan and talking about this. I've talked about it at Amity, TEDx, IITs, IIMs, and a lot of global platforms as well. And I recently was featured among the top 20 digital wellness thought leaders in the world. And I was the only Indian to be featured there. So hence the point is that I do come in with extensive credibility to talk about this. So just wanted to set some introductions. And now the next 15 minutes, I would potentially talk about problems, deep dive into problems, and then we'll talk about solutions. So I'll share a video and would love your thoughts if you can relate with it.
I'm running late. Bye!
Lily!
Miss Richardson took my phone again. She always picks on me, I don't get it. Guys. That's not even a word.
How many of you could relate that with your kid? Any thoughts in the chat window? So if you looked at the video, the two broad problems were that we were constantly distracted. The girl was constantly distracted. While she was talking to people, they were distracted by phone. While she was in classes, she was distracted. While she was doing her homework, she was distracted. So the first problem is constantly distracted. Second is that always on culture. And I mean always on culture. Before going to sleep, she checked her phone. Like after going to sleep, she waked up again and checked her phone. And the point is we are always on. So these are two broad problems which we go through generally, or our kids. And if I ask you this question also, it's been I think 20 minutes into the talk, how many of you have checked your phones, laptops, or any other applications beside this presentation? Or even if I ask you, like your kids might have done it too during online classes. So a quick hands up would really help. I'm sure a lot of you would have done that. Even potentially I do that during boring calls or stuff. So I see a lot of hands being raised. And the point to reiterate is we are constantly distracted and always on. And this is the reason why during the pandemic times, the research states that, so when I mean research, Google search trends was taken into account for the word how to get your brain to focus. And they have increased by 300%. So people really want to focus. They're not able to focus and they're distracted. So it's backed by research as well. I'm not going into bore research because I feel we know the problems and hence I would want to focus more on solutions. And there is a lot of research to show that if you're using technology the wrong way, it affects our mental health, physical health, it causes burnout, it causes exhaustion. And there are a lot of research out there. So I'm not going into that again. But again, if you use technology the wrong way, that's the point to make. And why are we here today as parents? The point is that if you look at students' brains or our kids' brains, they're still developing till the age of 25. And they're not really adept or capable to handle technology. I remember reading this somewhere that a kid can reach to porn in 3 clicks essentially. So the point is that our kids are not adept to handle technology. And this is where our role comes in as parents, their friends, or our partners with kind of kids. So the point is to be in partnership with kids and make sure they navigate this journey with their technology and thrive in the digital world. So just wanted to reiterate the importance of the parents which we are here today. And now it's time to be a detective. So this is the term that I use for kids, that it's time to be a detective, understand the problems that we're going through and use our magic to solve those problems. I'm not going into challenges and problems because I do understand that to a certain extent, and I would rather keep it open in the end and talk about them. So the point is that now going into solutions, this is where the digital wellness movement comes in, which is about how technology serves us and moves us towards our goals rather than distracting us. So this is like a summary of the digital wellness movement. And if I summarize till now what I've talked about, it's not about how digital world is shaping us. So if you look at right now, we're constantly distracted like this person, we're not able to focus. So the digital world is shaping us. But how do we be more intentional, more mindful about our technology and shape the digital world? That's what the digital wellness movement is about. Now coming to the meaty portion of the deck, or what we'll be waiting for, I'll now talk about solutions for improving our relationship with tech. So just wanted to show you another video to kind of talk about solutions.
I've got English later than a rugby match.
Morning.
Good morning.
You know the rules. No phones at the table.
Hi. Morning.
Have a good day.
Bye, Mum. This is what the Acropolis would have looked like. Hi guys, what are you doing?
Hey, we are photoshopping day. How did you do that?
I hope the audio was audible this time. Perfect. So what did you see? the first video I showed was a current state video. Essentially, the problem which our kids are going with. This is like a future state video, essentially, in which what I or we envision our kids to go towards, a much more healthy relationship with tech. And any insights which any of you have got, anything in the chat window, what could you observe from this video? What was different from the first one? What were some steps that she took? Any thoughts? Studies, because she put it on do not disturb. She increased me time, absolutely. Rules to use tech, disable notifications, good. So yeah, a lot of insights. It's good using media to enjoy. Yes, good use of digital, absolutely. I think you've all struck the right chord. Hence, I wanted to show that video. Anyone else? We should not make habits of using tech every time. Exactly. But as someone said, using it positively as well was a good point. But I can see a lot of enthusiastic parents coming and seeing a lot of solutions, which is good. Use technology when it's necessary. Absolutely. Anyone else? Taking balance. Active users and passive. Perfect. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, everyone. We'll go forward now. So someone said about being strict. Is introducing parental control app the solution? We just go ahead and impose restrictions. We monitor what they're doing online, or we kind of see what apps they're using, what are they texting, what are their passwords. Do we kind of impose that restriction? Is that the solution? I feel that's not the solution, honestly. Like introducing a vanilla version of parental control apps, because if we impose restrictions on kids, they would run away. And honestly, they're much smarter to us when it comes to using technology, and they will find ways to navigate. And to be honest, this is a short-term thing. In the short-term thing, it will not work out because, or even if it does work out, there would be friction between us and the kids. And if you look at it from a longer-term perspective, 5-10 years down the line, our kids have to manage their own technology. Our kids have to manage their own lives. So digital life is going to become even a bigger part. So if they know how to control, how to navigate the digital world, how to be empowered about it, I feel they'll be able to manage life better in general, or their digital life in better. So it's about empowering our kids. It's about being in partnership with our kids instead of imposing restrictions, I feel. So a lot of you, as a lot of you found out from that video and a lot of you pointed, the first thing is to do some kind of expectation setting. The point is to talk to your kids. The point is to be in partnership with your kids and come together and make a technology contract. It could be for your cell phones, it could be for your gaming, it could be for your laptop. And this contract could have a lot of things. Essentially, it could talk about when you would use your technology. And it's not just for kids, by the way, it's for us as well. Because otherwise kids will feel that we are doing only the thing. But the point is to come together and have your goals in alignment. What goals do I have from a technology? When do I want to use it? How do I want to use it? What would happen if I use it the wrong way? And what if I break these rules? What would be the penalties? What would be the rewards? And essentially sign it. Kids really love signing something up. So I think expectation setting really helps. And then putting it in their rooms, putting it in a common area. So I think this really helps. And again, not imposing the contract on them. It's a lot about discussion. It's a lot about partnership. When I mean that, I mean sitting together with your kids, listening to them, listening to what they want. They want to play 1 hour of games, 50 minutes of games. Discuss that with them. Come to a common consensus, I feel. Because otherwise they will hide it and do it when they are not seeing, or they will find ways to navigate. But if you come to a common consensus, I think that really, really is a powerful approach. I think this cell phone contract has been done internationally by various parents, and it has really helped them much better. And in the long term as well, it would have a good impact on our kids, because they would be responsible digital citizens. And this is a contract, an example of contract, and I'll share the link as well. Her name is Tessa. She talked about the fact that I want to be always kind online. I don't want to say out something loud to my parents. And if someone is in person, I don't want to pick up phone. So this has something that has come in with kind of discussions with parents. As you can see, this is a snip from a movie called Teenagers. I definitely recommend that you should watch it along with your kids to have that conversation or discussion. And as you can see, the kids was discussing with their parents and came to a common consensus. So I feel this is a very powerful oriented approach which you should take before any other steps that I talk about. And even if you want to introduce parental control apps, you should. But again, they work best when in partnership with kids. Talk to your kids that I have your safety in mind. I have your interest in mind. And I really want to not monitor, but I want to see what you're doing. The conversation tone needs to be much more empathetic. The conversation needs to come from a caring perspective instead of from a judgment perspective. I want to care for you. I want to see where you are. And let's discuss on ways I can see where you are online, probably GPS location or somewhere, what your passwords are. And I will only use when you permit me to. So it's again about partnership and not about imposition or restriction, I feel. That is the right way to introduce parental control apps. And there are a lot of apps out there. Like social media inherently comes with some kind of restrictions which you can impose for your kids. our desktops have that, our laptops and desktops have something called a parental control. So if I search parental control, you can see family option parental control coming in. So there are within our desktop, our mobile, if you have something called a Google Digital Wellbeing, you can set limits for family. And if you have something called Apple Screen Time, again, it has impositions for your family screen time. So there are tools out there which you can use, but again, in partnership with kids is an important aspect of it. Now I'm going to talk about solutions. Once we've set expectations, I want to talk about solutions of life outside technology. So let me give you the second solution, which is to maintain boundaries with technology usage. So question to all of you, like, is checking your phone last thing in the night a good thing? I'm sure a lot of you must have read research that it affects the quality of sleep that you have. So that boundary is really, really necessary. And the science behind it is the fact that when you're checking your phone last thing in the night or your screens, it releases something called blue light. And that blue light is responsible for reducing this chemical called melatonin, which is responsible for sleep, or which is responsible for inducing sleep. Hence, not checking your phone last thing in the night is a good thing or is a good practice. Second is checking your phone while talking to people a good thing? There is a lot of research. This phenomenon is actually called fubbing. You're snubbing someone with your phone. How do you feel? I would actually ask you to reflect. When you're talking to someone and they pick up their phone, how do you feel? You feel a sense of disconnect, right? So the point here is to not fub people because it reduces the quality of relationships that we have. Third is bathrooms, potentially. Do you really want to check your phone while going to the toilet? And I remember this instance which I wanted to share. So I used to go to office a couple of years back. Now it's mostly work from home or hybrid. But when I used to go to the washroom to urinate in my office, I used to see people checking their phones while urinating. And the thought that used to come to my mind was, boss, hardly 10 seconds lag rahe. What could you possibly achieve from your phone? So the point is, are these good boundaries to have or are these bad boundaries to have? So I think these bare minimum boundaries need to be there because technology is not everything. We need to know the right place and location to use our technology, honestly. And even if driving, like I've been honestly in those positions where I've taken an Uber and they're constantly on phones and I'm like asked to jaan gayi very. So be very careful about having those specific boundaries for yourself and for your kids. And I just want to show you another video to kind of help you understand the importance of this boundary. This is called the still face experiment because her face is still. Completely barring is wrong and educating them will help, absolutely. Any thoughts on the video? Distraction, yes. This is called a still face experiment. Kids want attention, exactly. Not concentrating on child, exactly. We miss important things if I name while being online, correct. Exactly. So what's happening is still face experiment. What's happening is, as human beings, we really, really want connection. We want to connect with other human beings. And especially at that primitive age, and even during 6th to 9th class, honestly, it keeps happening. And what is happening is that kid really wanted attention, but her mom was really focused on the phone, honestly. And that really disappointed the baby, honestly. Like, I actually felt a lot of empathy. He felt her mom wasn't there, honestly. So there was a sense of disconnection there. And I feel we'd really do it in our day-to-day lives as well. And I feel this is something that we need to keep in mind. We need to have these kind of boundaries in our life, honestly. Because human connection is very, very pivotal to us. So keep that. That's the point. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Third is, one is maintaining boundaries. And third is think about a life outside technology. I've had a lot of complaints that kids are not able to do a lot of things online now, offline now. They're not able to think about a life outside technology. So I would encourage, do some creative activity with the kids. Give a poster to them, help them make things, draw stuff, and make a list of things that they want to do online. So make it a really fun activity, creative activity, because what has happened during COVID times is that we've not gone out. So have that list of things to do outside technology. So when your kids want to go to technology or they want to think of things to go beyond technology, they have a list they can potentially refer. So make this list of 40, 50 things that you have, 60 things, and do it together with kids and make it a fun activity, I think. Take a poster, draw something up, write it up. I think it is really important to have a life outside technology as well. And to excite you with one thing, I hope you can see this. I actually sleep with this on a day-to-day basis. So this is not life outside technology, but this has really transformed the quality of sleep that I have. This is an old-fashioned alarm clock, and I would definitely encourage you to do that as well. So I feel some kind of life outside technology really helps, like playing sports, following their hobbies, doing something creative. I think I was talking to Principal Ma'am as well, and she was saying that they're encouraging kids to do a lot of creative stuff. They've started creative activities, which is good. But again, keeping in mind COVID restrictions as well. So this is another solution. Fourth solution is, again, I wanted to first talk about expectation setting, things that we do outside tech or maintaining boundaries. Now thinking about the fact that we have to use digital technologies, but how do you make it work for you? Solution 4 is taming your digital distraction. As you saw from the video, you could put things on do not disturb. Like there are features within Apple, Google as well to put things on do not disturb in which you don't get calls and notifications. You can put out notifications, but these are solutions I'm sure a lot of you would be aware of. But I want to excite you with a couple of more solutions. I understand that kids in 6 to 9 potentially would use YouTube. So there is an extension called To Do Book. It's in Google Chrome. It essentially asks your intention before opening your YouTube, essentially. Like, what do you want to get done before opening YouTube? And even when you quit through it, it gives you 5 minutes to use YouTube. So you're more intentional and mindful about using YouTube. And at the back end of YouTube, what you could do is you could turn off autoplay. So sometimes these technologies are also made in a way to hack your attention. So what you could do is hack back and make it work for you. When autoplay is off, you get an intention to choose whether you want to see the next video or not. So this way, you're being more mindful about your time spent online. And again, there are a lot of these applications, extensions out there for different tools. Instagram is potentially something that 8, 9 kids might be using. So there is something called a demetricator, which removes all the metrics when you go online. And if you look at the psychology behind these apps, what happens is we look for cravings and rewards, right? We want to see how many likes you've got. And I'm sure if I ask you this question, how many of you remember the number of likes you got on your last post? I'm sure a lot of you would remember that. So if you remove these metrics, it would make it less distracting or less addictive in that sense. Again, there are a lot of these tools, and I do a separate workshop to talk about these tools. But I just wanted to give you a flavor so that you understand that we have these tools with us at our disposal to make technology work for us. One last solution is, I'm assuming your kids use a lot of mobile phone. And this is one of the biggest productivity apps out there. It's called Forest, and there's another app called Sapling. What it does is, let's say I want to focus on my studies for 45 minutes or 25 minutes. I go to Forest app, I put a timer for 25 minutes and it sows a seed. And during that 25 minutes, this sown seed grows into a plant. Only if I don't check my phone in the intermediate. So if I check my phone during those 25 minutes, that seed would kill itself essentially. So they've gamified the whole concept of productivity. And I'm sure kids would love it, right? They're able to make plants, they're able to grow plants if they're able to focus on their task, right? So you're gamifying the whole system to hack back your attention and make it work for you. So this is the number one productivity app out there, and definitely would recommend. But again, as I said, there are a lot of these tools, and I do a different workshop to talk about these tools. But just wanted to tell you that we have tools at our disposal to manage our own digital wellness and our own kids' digital wellness. Another solution. So what I've found out is, after talking to a lot of kids, parents, teachers, one more problem is managing your online class fatigue. And the point is online, and since we have shifted back to offline now, I'm assuming that kids might still be attending some tuition classes, or kids might still have some hybrid mode of classes, which we were talking about in the beginning, or they might still talk to distant cousins and all. So online classes or online meetings are here to stay. And even if I ask you, I'm sure a lot of you might be attending online meetings. So Zoom fatigue is something that's very common. And let me talk about ways to manage Zoom fatigue. So first is eye contact. Can we have audio only calls? Because I'm not saying that we shouldn't have video calls, but some calls, if you have 7-8 calls in a day, do we need all calls to be video? That's really cognitively or very exhausting for us. So can we keep it only audio? Second is seeing yourself. So the biggest distraction is, like, if I stop my screens here, you will see me. This is very, very distracting for you. So as human beings, we are really, really cognizant, and we keep saying ourselves, which makes it really, really distracting, and a cognitive load goes in that. So what you could do is, there is a button which comes here and you can hide your self-view. As you can see, show self-view, hide self-view. So you can hide your self-view, which is very, very powerful to kind of manage your digital wellness when in online classes. Third is mobility. So we have a lot of back-to-back online classes, back-to-back meetings. So can we take breaks in between? After every 1 hour, can we take a 5-minute break and just move around? And last is high cognitive load, which means essentially that you have multiple technologies at your disposal. You have a phone, you have a laptop, you have another tablet here. Can we only focus on one gadget at a time? Can we keep those other gadgets at a distance away? Because then our focus is distributed to multiple gadgets. So this is a way to manage your online class fatigue. So I'll take a quick pause and I'll see what we've got in the chat. So another solution is, and let me give you a couple of solutions around that. I've heard that students have a lot of headaches, their eyesight has increased, power has increased during COVID times, and even us as well, potentially. There are a couple of things to keep in mind here. First is 20-20 rule, which essentially means every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. That's a very powerful rule. And what I do is honestly, I have a post-it card which keeps me reminding about it. I don't follow it every time, but at least I follow it sometimes, which is a good reminder to have. Second is night light. What happens is we use blue light all the time. And if you go to your laptop and essentially your phone, there is a way to enable night light. So night light is essentially, instead of blue, it's yellowish. And yellowish light is much more softer on the eyes, much more calmer on the eyes. And this is very powerful to use in the night time, because what happens is night light has much less component of blue light. And if we can't live without technology at the night, can we have night light, which is much more calmer on the eyes and which has less component of blue light, so would not reduce the quality of sleep that much. Third is ergonomic furniture. Do you have furniture that has an arm's length to your laptop? Is it actually at your level? So having ergonomic furniture is really, really helpful to have a better balance with tech in the way you use it. Then there are a lot of extensions out there which encourage you to take a break. So if I show you, as you can see, there is something called timeout. It is encouraging me to take a break, as you can see. After every 20 minutes, it nudges me to take a break, look away from your screen. So as you can see, there are these nudges out there which helps you have a better relationship with tech. Solution 7, which I've talked about, it's a lot about using technology positively and together. Can we encourage kids to talk about their passions, talk about their skill sets online, and to use it together? I feel that's the most powerful component. Can we play a game together? Can we talk about it? Can we watch a movie together and then talk about it? Can we use it in a way which is positive? If your kids love some craft, dance, cooking, can they kind of make a video around that, post it online? Can they use it, use their passion and use technology as a medium to kind of make it much more broader and make it much more impactful to a lot of audiences out there? So that's the key message here. And I'll take a quick pause before I show you a video, because we have two more solutions to, I hope my screen is visible. Okay, it is. Perfect.
It is visible.
It's visible, cool. I see Shivam saying night light is very effective for eyesight. So good to know that there are a lot of tips that people have tried and it has worked for them, which is good.
I'm not hungry.
What's wrong, sweetheart?
I miss Daddy.
I know. We all miss him.
I miss him more.
Oh, no, I miss him the most.
I miss him a lot.
No,
I stop missing him.
I miss him so much more.
Hey, everyone shut up. This filter makes me look like a cat. It's so funny, it's making me cry.
Positive use of phone. So what happened was, are we role modeling? I'm not here to blame, like even all of us struggle with technology, and I understand we have jobs, we have so many things to do online, but are we role modeling what we want our kids to do? If we tell them to not use the devices at dinner, are we using it for our own kind of work? If we are telling them to not to use last thing in the night, are we also checking it? So honestly, are we role modeling what we are telling them to do? And again, not coming it from a blame perspective, but from a compassionate perspective, because I know we have jobs, I know we have commitments, but it's important to walk the talk. That's my point. Because if we don't follow essentially what we're doing, they won't really follow us. And this quote really summarizes what I'm trying to say. And Lionel shares that children are more likely to follow what we do rather than what we say. If we say something and we do something, they would only follow what we do. So it's important to do positive role modeling. That's my point. And it's important to be good role models for them. And an example to kind of, before another video, I just want to see what is happening. Follow as we preach. Makes sense. No phone and TV while having meal. Correct. Those boundaries could be part of the contract. So let me show you another video, and that makes actually a little bit lighter.
Hey Jake, you want to pass the salt, please?
Dad.
Sorry, I must have been a little distracted. Pass the salt.
Positive role modeling. Again, this was not really positive, but the point is to, have some kind of habits or have some kind of boundaries with tech usage and follow those rules as well. That's my point. Last solution which I want to talk about is we've understood now like expectation setting, life outside technology, boundaries, and some way to tame your digital distractions, and then positively role modeling. The last solution is, do we know about the technologies our kids use? Does any one of you know how Instagram works, how that gaming app works, how TikTok works? Have any one of you used that? Do you know what are the digital wellness features of that? Do you know what are the different characters in that? Do we know the technology which our kids are using? I'm sure a lot of you would say no to that question. And even if we do know, it'll be to a certain extent, or it'll be only a couple of audience members. Because I feel if we don't know what they're using, would they come and talk to us about it? Like right now, if we have any technology issue, we go to our kids. Like, yaar, Zoom class kaise join karu, kya hai? So the point is, do we know about it or not? If we know about it, then only can we educate our kids on it. And then only will they look up to us. And the second thing is, it's not just about understanding technology, it's about understanding digital wellness. I've given you like a quick digital wellness course here, but there are a lot of resources, and I'm happy to do more workshop as well to talk about it. There are a lot of resources which I mentioned here. These are the leading resources I can definitely refer, but one of the top one is something that I'm going to refer is by the Digital Wellness Institute. They have a course in which they certify you as a digital wellness educator, and it talks about how technology affects your physical health, mental health, communication, relationships. It's a very, very good course. It's a 14-15 week course, and it really empowers you to use your technology in a better way. And not just for you, you can then enable your kids as well to be a better digital citizen. And if any one of you is interested to do any of these courses or the Digital Wellness Institute courses, feel free to reach out to me, and I know the people out there and I can potentially get you a discount as well. And these are the solutions I want to talk about, because again, if you don't know about digital wellness, again, how can you enable your kids to do digital wellness? So again, that's the point from that. Then point is, let's start. These are the solutions I want to give. Now start that conversation with your kids. There are a lot of documentaries. I'm sure you must have heard of Social Dilemma. There is another called Screenagers, which essentially means teenagers with screens. So watch these documentaries together with your kids and have that conversation. And don't come from a judgmental lens, come in from an empathy lens, I feel. And again, if you still can't find answers, the genie always has the answer. You can always ask the genie the question, or the genie will answer your wish. So there is actually a screen time genie built by Stanford University. I've used it a lot of times, and I know the person who has made this. It's a very powerful tool. Like, if you ask it, email is my problem, it would give you that solution. If you ask it that gaming is my problem, it would give you that solution. It would ask you the platform which you use. So the genie has all the answers in case you still are not able to find the answers. And let's just spend a couple of minutes. I want all of you to think about what is one step you want to take today to transform your tech usage or your kids' tech usage, essentially. So I'm going to share a Mentimeter link. We'll take a quick poll for a couple of minutes, because I think we've learned a lot today. But how do we make sure that we kind of go ahead and actually actionate this as well? So go to Mentimeter, and I want a lot of you to think about one step you want to take today for your kids to transform their tech usage. And it could be for yourself as well, your or your kids' tech usage. So spend a couple of minutes, because this is the action point I would encourage you to take. So let's spend a couple of minutes thinking about the solution. So good that keep posting thoughts here. I think this is what is the action out of here. And I'll just conclude things up, but definitely this Mentimeter is open. Keep posting your thoughts, whatever action you want to take. To summarize the talk, it's about not the digital world shaping us. It's about us shaping the digital. That's the summary of the talk. Don't take away tech, but instead of digital world kind of managing us, we shape the digital world. That's the key message of the talk. And if I kind of summarize everything, if I kind of give you a call to action, ultimately I've given you all the tools. And ultimately it's your choice to tame the digital distraction, to manage expectations, set a screen time with your screen time contract with the kids. Or it's your choice to just ignore all of this and just keep going the way it is, or let it worsen. It's your choice, because now you have that tool set with you. But I would kind of end with this thought, and it's how we spend our days is of course how we spend our lives. It's a quote by Annie Dillard. how we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. Do you want to spend half of your days on tech, or do you want to be constantly distracted by tech? Do you want to not have that great relationship with your kid because of tech? I would rather encourage you to have those mindful moments. I would rather encourage you to have that healthy relationship with tech, because if you look at it from the lens of our deathbed, we would rather remember those moments in which we spent quality time with family, we spent quality time with our kids, and not those times in which we applied filters to our Instagram, kept gaming all the time, not be a good role model. Those are the moments we would remember in which we are using technology positively, or we are having that good boundary with technology. Thus, I feel the time has come for each and every one of us to open our eyes to a world that does not only see screens all the time, but to the beauty around us and our relationships, because that's where the real magic happens in life. Thank you so much, everyone. Pat yourself in the back, because you've just been given a digital wellness 101 course kind of a feedback, and I'm sure a lot of you must have learned a lot.